How do you do everything? How do you balance work and family and having a life? We're scattered. We're exhausted. At the end of the day, we don't even know if we did anything, but we did. And then we fight this shame cycle of like, I didn't get enough done. I didn't get enough done. What is enough? We don't know, but we're sure we didn't get it done. There's just no time. How do you balance it all? That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Hey everyone, and welcome to Business Bootcamp. I'm Christy Wright, bestselling author, certified business coach, keynote speaker, but most of all, your bossy big sister, here to give you the practical steps you want and the tough love truth you need to succeed. Let's dive in. So, any of you that have followed me since the Ramsey days, which were quite a few days, let's be honest, that was 12 years that I worked there, then you know that I released my latest book, Take Back Your Time, in the fall of 2021. 2 months, y'all. 2 months before God called me to leave. That's right. I was still basically in book launch when God called me to leave, which was not an easy decision. Let's just be honest. So this book, Take Back Your Time, The Guilt-Free Guide to Life Balance, is not only my favorite book, I guess because it's the most recent book I've written, but also because I feel like the growth and the potential was kind of stunted by me leaving in the middle of all of the promotion season. But what's interesting is when I go back to that time and I go back to 2020 and 2021 and releasing this book, I'm reminded of what a massive pain point this is for people, for me, for you. This idea of getting it all done. In fact, in 15 years of being a business coach, traveling, speaking, writing, the number one question that I have been asked in all these years from men or women, those that work in corporate America, those that run their own business, those that stay home with their kids, regardless of your age or season of life or family or business, regardless, the number one question that I'm asked is, how do you balance it all? How do you balance it all? How do you get it all done? How do you do everything? How do you balance work and family and having a life and taking care of yourself and having friendships and all of the things that you want to do? How in the world do you balance it all? How do you get it all done? The schedules and commitments and reminders and to-do list and doctor's appointments and just all the adulting things goes on and on and on. And y'all, if we're honest, we're scattered, we're exhausted. At the end of the day, we don't even know if we did anything, but we did. But what? And then we fight this shame cycle of like, I didn't get enough done. I didn't get enough done. What is enough? We don't know, but we're sure we didn't get it done. Whatever enough is. There's just no time. There's never any time. Like, cue Jesse Spano from Saved by the Bell. There's no time. There's never any time. No time to study. I'm never going to get into Stanford. Y'all, we're still living this problem every single day. Here's the problem that I have realized in years of struggling with this myself. Years of fighting the unending to-do list, the commitments, the schedules, the dreams, goals, aspirations that we have for this year or any year. Here's what I have learned. Balance is not something you achieve like a verb. How do you balance it all? Like scales. Balance is something you can actually feel even in your busy life. This is the premise of my entire book, Take Back Your Time, where it's no longer a goal to balance it all like this perfect 50-50 split like scales. Instead, you're going to feel balanced in your busy life. You're going to learn how to do the right things at the right time. And when you do the right things at the right time, not everything, but the right things at the right time, you can feel that sense of balance where you can be really busy and you can be in a crazy season where you're running hard, you're building your business, you're chasing your goals, but you feel balanced because you're not feeling guilty for all the wrong things. You're spending your time on the right things. You're being present for them and you are actually confident in them. The question that I love to ask people is, what's right now? What's right now? When you do the right things at the right time, you will feel that sense of balance. But even if we do that, okay, even if we do the right things, and even if we create our version of balance in this season, we do still struggle with the finiteness. Is that a word? I don't know. We're going with it. The fact that our time is so finite. There are still only 24 hours in a day. So some of you may be in a season, for example, especially at the start of the year, you've got a lot of new projects in your business. You've got a lot of ambitious goals, which is awesome. And you're going, well, it's all important. Of course, you know what I'm going to say. If everything's important, nothing's important. It's not all important, but you may have a lot of very important things. You may have a lot of things that are falling in the essential or priority category. in your life. And so you're going, how can I make time, carve out time, have more time for these really important things in those busy seasons, in those heavy seasons where you've got a lot going on and it's a lot of good things. It's not things that you can just easily cut out. There's not a lot of fluff, but you've got to make time for these things. Well, I want to tell you something. Here's the good news. You have more time than you realize. And what I mean by that is you have more time potential than you realize. You are losing time in ways that you have no idea. You are losing time in inefficiencies, in just poor systems in your life because you've just done it this way for so long, you don't question it. You are losing time like I lose everything in the crevices of my car. Like it just disappears, but you don't know it. You don't realize why. Now, sure, you may need to cut back on some things. You may need to hire or delegate or outsource to also get some help for this heavy demand season. But I want to tell you, you can find time in your schedule right now. You can make small changes right now today to how you manage your time that will instantly free up your time. You will get more done in less time. You will create more margin, which then gives you more hours in your day, more hours to use however you want to for those top priorities, or I don't know, to take a nap, to rest people, to have a hobby, have some friendships, take care of yourself, go on a date night. You can use it however you want to. So I want to dig into 3 time hacks that you need to try this year. These are 3 things that you could do that will instantly increase your efficiency, where you are getting more done in less time, which then gives you back your time. Take back your time. That's right. That's my specialty, people. So let's talk about how to increase your efficiency to have more time. And you can do these things today, right now, that are going to help you with this. So number 1, batch-like things. Batch-like things. When you are planning your week, you are planning your tasks, you are planning your activities, put like things together. I don't know if you realize this, but shifting between tasks can cost you as much as 40% of your productive time. That's research from the American Psychological Association. 40% loss of productivity, 40% loss of your time just between task switching. I don't know if you're like this, but y'all, the switching gears back and forth in my business or in my life is exhausting. Trying to go from one thing that is detail-oriented to another thing that is creative, and then squeezing in one task here, and then trying to write a blog here, and then record a reel here, and then fill out an invoice here. It's exhausting. All of those tasks are very different, and they use a very different part of your brain. It's a different gear. When you're switching gears, it takes time to get into that gear, to warm up to the speed of that gear, to even be able to get the task done. So you're killing your productivity when you're switching back and forth, when you're multitasking, and your days are filled with a long to-do list that have nothing to do with each other. So instead, I want you to put like things together. Batch-like things. I do this in my schedule where I will block on my calendar large blocks of time, 2 hours, 3 hours, and I will knock out a ton of the same type of activity. So I might block an hour or 2 hours at the start of my week to record reels for social media. I might block another 3 hours to write all of my podcasts for the week. Another section of time where I'm going to knock out all of my emails or all of my detail-oriented stuff like invoicing and reporting and budgets and that kind of stuff. When you put like things together and then you have the time blocked on your calendar, you are so much faster in your work. You enjoy it more. You get more done. You have a higher quality of output where you're not making mistakes in the switching of gears. You are increasing your time. Just simply putting like things together will not only increase your efficiency, it will literally increase your time. Think about this in your business. Think about the type of tasks that you do and how you manage them. What would it look like for you to block large blocks of time to put like things together? You know, when I very first started my business about 1.5 years ago, before I hired my business manager, I did everything myself. I was like many of you, a solopreneur, the CEO, chief everything officer. I did everything, including spreadsheets, including invoicing, including details and things that I suck at, like Zoom links and codes and things that I would just make mistakes again and again and again. And I was exhausted of the switching back and forth between one side of my brain and another side of my brain, and it just didn't work. I made mistakes, And I felt like at the end of the day, I was exhausted and I'd gotten very little done. When you change how you manage your schedule and you will block large blocks of time for like things, you will work way faster. You will knock out one email and then the next email and then the next email. You will write blog after blog after blog, reel after reel after reel, podcast after podcast after podcast. Even when I'm writing my podcast, I break it up by which podcast I'm writing. So for example, I will have a block of time where I write all of the episodes for the next month for Get Your Hopes Up, which is my faith-based show. Then I will have a separate block of time where I write all of the episodes for Business Bootcamp, this show that you're watching right now. Why? Because they're different shows. It's different types of content. I don't want to be switching back and forth between strictly faith-based content and strictly tactical business content. I want to get my brain in that gear and stay in that gear because I'm going to get more done. It's going to be more quality work. I'm going to have more fun. And then, of course, have more time as my efficiency increases. So put like things together, batch like things, large blocks of time on your calendar where you are putting similar tasks together. This is going to instantly increase your productivity, increase the quality of your work, increase your enjoyment of your work, and increase your time. You're getting more done in less time simply by reducing your task switching, your gear switching, your multitasking. Put the like things together and watch how you get hours of your life back. So number one is to put like things together, batch like things. Number two, separate projects from tasks. Projects and tasks are not the same thing, okay? But we treat them like the same thing. So let me give you an example. Maybe you have done this, hypothetically, of course. You have a to-do list. So on this list, you have things like pay the bills, schedule the hair appointment, pick up the prescriptions, Conley's birthday, summer camps, grocery list. These are not the same thing. These are not the same thing. Pay your bills is not the same thing as Conley's birthday. Pick up the prescriptions is not the same thing as summer camps. Summer camps, if you're a parent of school-age kids, is a project. You're talking about Tetris for 12 weeks of summer, figuring out which friends are going to which camps on which weeks and for which ages and which grades and who you're trying to coordinate with and which camps overlap and where you're going to be on vacation. That is like an hours-long project at least of Tetris and texting your friends and spreadsheets and signups and payments and registration forms and grids and calendars. That's a project. Summer camps is a project. That needs its own list. What are the different camps? What are the different weeks? What are the different tasks that go under the summer camp project list? Pick up prescriptions is a task. You go pick up the prescriptions and you come home with the prescriptions. That's a task. It is a one and done thing. In my example of Conley's birthday is a project. That's a project. That's not a task. Conley's birthday has like 50 items under Conley's birthday. So it is book the place, get the food, get goodie bags, send the invite list, make the invite list, send the invitations, get Conley's presents, invite family. Like it is item after item after item, task after task after task under the project of Conley's birthday. So Conley's birthday or summer camps are projects. They don't make it on your to-do list. They have their own list. If you will begin to organize your tasks by project and separate the projects, here's what's going to happen. It is going to instantly free up your brain. Like it is going to take the thinking out of your tasks. It is going to take the thinking out of managing your to-do list. And here's why. Your brain is working really, really hard all day, every day when you look at that list to remember what you mean. That's what it's doing. When your brain looks at that to-do list and it sees groceries and Conley's birthday and pick up prescriptions and summer camps, it's working really hard to translate Conley's birthday. It's working really hard to remember everything that falls under summer camps because it's not written down. David Allen said in his book, Getting Things Done, your brain is for having ideas, not holding them. Oh, that's good, y'all. Your brain is for having ideas, not holding them. So when you write some cryptic message on your to-do list called summer camps, which actually means 50 other things, your brain is working so hard to hold on to that. And it can't, and it shouldn't, and it's a waste of your energy. Instead, plan your to-do list differently. Pull out the projects and give them their own list. Now, you may think at first pass, well, Christy, that's overwhelming to have 5 lists. It's actually not. When you write it down, when you write down step by step what you need to do for each project under each project list, then when you block the time on your calendar, because you will, as we've talked about, when you block the time and you say, okay, I've got these few hours to work on summer camps, and you sit down with your list, you're fast. You're really, really fast. You're going to the websites, you're filling out the registration forms, you're texting your friends, you're getting that job done. When you sit down and you're in birthday mode, okay, we're going to have the birthday party here. This is going to be the theme. Go on Amazon, order a package, get the party supplies, invite the friends. Once your brain is in that gear, like we talked about in step 1, once your brain is in that gear, you're very, very fast. You knock these things out one after another. Again, it's putting like things together, but you're taking the thinking out of it. You're giving your brain a break by writing down exactly what you need to do and not leaving any room for interpretation or translation where your brain is working so hard to figure out what you mean. And you can't prioritize because you're not sure which comes first. You've got these separate lists with like things together. Everything is written down. And then, of course, you're going to block time on your calendar to make sure you have time to knock out that list. Don't just treat your calendar as something that appointments show up on. If this to-do list is not on your calendar, it's not going to get done, and you know it. It takes time. It takes time to drive to the pharmacy and get your prescription. It takes time to get the groceries. It takes time to plan camps. It takes time to plan a birthday party. If you don't plan the time on your calendar, if you don't batch these like things on your calendar also, they're not going to get done. So make sure you continue the whole process where not only do you put like things together, and not only do you pull out the projects and separate them from tasks, you also put them on the calendar so you are going to do the thing that you want to do. You are putting this to-do list and these tasks on the system you've chosen to live your life by, which is your calendar. If it's not on the calendar, it's not going to happen. You know it and I know it. So put the to-do list tasks on the calendar so they happen. Okay, you sticking with me? We're getting hours of your life back right now. So number 1, batch like things. Number 2, separate projects from tasks. And number 3, make it visual. Whatever you're working on, make it visual. Find ways to make a visual representation of your priorities, your to-do list, your tasks, your projects, whatever this is. You know, I've been a business coach for years, and I'm always a little amused when people say this. Well, I'm just a visual learner. And I'm like, yeah, so is every other human on the planet. There's no one in the world that goes, you know what? I'm not very visual. I don't like to see it. When I see it, I just get confused. Like I've seen it now. I don't know what to do. No, we are all visual. We are all visual learners. It's how we consume information and how our brain processes it. So make it visual for yourself. How can you make your tasks, your calendar, your projects visual? I'll give you some very tactical examples of things that I do, okay? I use my phone calendar, which of course is synced to my computer, so I know where I'm supposed to be when I use the calendar on my phone and on my computer. I also have a dry erase calendar on my fridge. And this has what is going on for the week. Who's picking up what child, who's taking what child to what therapy, who's taking Carter to tennis, who's taking Mary Grace to dance, who's doing pickups, who's doing drop-offs, who's got appointments, doctor's appointments, all the things. It's on the fridge. And here's why. It gives me this central visual location for me, my husband, my mom when she helps out, our part-time house assistant when she helps out. It gives all of us this same central visual to go by. And it's funny because sometimes my husband will ask Carter something like, is it Spirit Day? And Carter will go, look at the calendar, Dad. Look at the calendar. We all have this central spot where we know what is going on for the week. It's not hidden on my phone and computer that my husband doesn't know about or Kaylee, our house assistant, doesn't know about. We all know, even Carter knows what's going on when it's Spirit Day, when it's dress up day, whatever's going on, we see it visually. So even if you use your phone and you use technology for your calendar, I still recommend a visual representation, especially if you have kids and you got a lot of people helping, the village is raising the kids. You have a lot of people and a lot of help. It gives you a way for everybody to stay on the same page. So that's one example is the dry erase calendar, which as a pro tip, don't use dry erase markers. Use wet erase markers, like the old school projectors when we were in middle school, y'all, because then when your kid walks by, just swipes that sucker, it doesn't wipe off unless their hands are wet. And then you do have to start over. But it helps you if you have wet erase markers. So that's one example with the calendar. Another example, I use the project management program called Trello. There's lots of different programs, but what I like about Trello is I'm able to create a card for a task, or Christina does for me, more likely. And then I can see in my column what I'm supposed to do. And when I'm done with it, I literally drag it over to the next column, which is return to Christina. And then Christina does whatever she's supposed to do to execute it, fulfill it, and then it gets moved to done. It's a visual representation of the to-do list. Here are the projects, here are the tasks. We make a card, we drag it to the next column. There's something very gratifying about seeing things make progress. In fact, y'all, research shows this. The most motivating thing in the world, according to research, is seeing progress. Not money, not time off, not vacations, not rewards, not even compliments. If you want to motivate your team or motivate yourself, you need to see progress. You lose 5 pounds, you're like, oh yeah, I'm about to go for a run today. You want to run more. You want to eat better. You want to eat a salad because you've seen progress. You don't see progress? The opposite is also true. You just want to give up. You don't even want to try. So implement visual representation of your tasks and projects and to-do lists and calendars so that you can see this progress. In fact, research also shows that when we check off something on our to-do list, or we move the card over, or we knock something out, our brain releases dopamine, this feel-good hormone that says, hey, do that again, do that again. It incentivizes us and rewards us to want to do more of that. So set up your schedule, your projects, and your tasks in a way that works for how your brain already works. Yes, you are a visual learner. So yes, make it visual, whether that is a wet erase board on your refrigerator or Trello for your projects, or maybe just a goal tracker that you use for paying off your debt or your financial goals. Whatever it is, make it visual. When you make it visual, you are going to make it so much easier on yourself to make progress, keep track, and get hours back in your time. Now, I want to give you one more bonus. I've given you 3 really good time hacks that are going to help you increase your efficiency and decrease the amount of time you're losing in your week when you don't even realize it. So we've covered 3 really good practical steps to help you get more hours back. But I want to give you a bonus, okay? This is something that I have been living out and learning from in the last year, okay? And this is very real life, real time for me. Be realistic about what's not working. Be realistic about what's not working in your life, in your schedule, in your business for that matter, but specifically with your time. So I'll give you an example. This was several weeks ago, and I had a time block at the beginning of my day on Tuesday to write 2 podcasts. This time block was from 8 to 10 a.m. Well, Kaylee, our house manager that comes in, she helps me with Mary Grace. She helps me at the house. She just helps me with all the things, part assistant, part house manager, part taxi for my kids, part nanny. She does it all. She comes in at 10 a.m. Well, Mary Grace is home on Tuesdays. She doesn't have school. And so I had this time block from 8 to 10 a.m. I thought, that's fine. Mary Grace likes to stay in her pajamas. She'll probably watch a show, eat some muffins, just like, relax and just play at the house, because she does that sometimes. I'll get these podcasts knocked out and I'll get caught up. So I sit down to write in my office, which is approximately, 6 feet from where she is watching her show. And I want you to know, she came into my office, y'all, 97 times, 970 times. I don't know, but let me tell you, I cannot write an episode for my podcast with a tiny person, a tiny adorable person for sure, but a tiny person coming in, asking me 900 questions, asking me for more muffins, telling me about their show, asking me if they can type their name on my computer on Microsoft Word. No, you can't. Please go out of the office. On and on and on. And what happened was I got so frustrated with her. Because she kept coming in, and I knew she was capable of sitting down for a couple hours and watching a show, or even an hour uninterrupted and watching a show, and she wasn't doing it. And then I had this very obvious realization. Of course not. This doesn't work. It does not work for me to work at home when my kids are there and I don't have childcare. It doesn't work. And it is setting me up to fail. And it is setting me up to be a bad mom, a frustrated mom, an impatient mom, an angry mom. And it's setting Mary Grace up to fail because, of course, she comes in. I'm her mom. She wants to know what I'm doing. She wants to talk and hang out and play. She doesn't understand. She doesn't understand that boundary. She's 4 years old. I'm her mom. I'm full access 24/7 if I'm within her eyesight. Of course it doesn't work. It doesn't work for me to work at home. So now I've changed my schedule. The only things I do at home when my kids are home, if I don't have childcare, are things around the house. Yes, I can do some dishes while she's in the room and I can play with her and talk to her. Yes, I can, mail Christmas cards. I can do things that don't require my focus, my attention, my creativity. I can do that while I'm home with my kids. But work? No, I can't work. And so I've stopped setting myself up to fail and my work up to fail and my frustration to increase with my daughter by just cutting out what's not working. So I want to give you this bonus tip as we're talking about how to increase the time in your week. Be realistic about what's not working. When you're honest about what's not working, you're going to have more hours in your week, better output, more productivity, less stress, less frustration, and guess what? Probably better relationships with your kids. So I don't know what that is for you. Maybe it's not your child walking in your office. Maybe it's something different entirely, but be honest with yourself. Be realistic about what's not working so that you can make changes and then have more time back in your week. Y'all, we lose and waste more time than we realize. 4 hours of focused work is worth 2 days of switching gears and switching tasks and getting distracted. You don't need to work harder. You don't need to work smarter. You just need to use the time that you have differently so you can get more done in less time. When you do this, when you use the tips that I've taught you today of batching things that are like things together and separating projects from tasks and making it visual and even being realistic about what's not working, you will get an increase in so many areas of your life. You're going to get more done than you ever imagined. You're going to have more space, more mental energy, more creativity, and most of all, more time for the things that you've been wanting to do, but never seem to get around to. Give it a try. Try these 4 things I've taught you today and see how many hours you get back in your week. And if you need extra help with this, you can download my Take Back Your Time workbook. And this is at christywright.com/TBYT. This is a workbook I created that goes along with my best-selling book, Take Back Your Time. You don't have to buy the book or have the book to use the workbook. This is a completely free resource for you, but it's going to walk you through several exercises to help you take back your time, do what's right now, and create your version of balance. Again, you can get that at christywright.com/TBYT. All right, y'all. That's it for this week's episode of Business Bootcamp. But before you go, I need your help in making this new show grow. So please follow this podcast channel, subscribe, and share this episode on social media so other people can get the hope and help that they need as well. And then tune in here every Tuesday to get the practical steps you want and the tough love truth that you need to succeed in business. I'm Christy Wright, and I'll see you next time.